Episode 2. The day everything changed. The afternoon sun shone through the blinds, casting long shadows across the floor as Sophie opened an old dusty box from the back of her cupboard. She hadn't looked through this box in years, maybe even a decade. It held the remnants of her past, photographs, letters, tickets, all the little pieces of her life that she had hidden away, too busy or too afraid to confront what they represented. Sophie sat on the floor, the box in front of her like a Pandora's box of emotions. She carefully lifted the lid and pulled out the first item, a yellowed photograph from her university days. There she was, standing in the middle of a crowded campus, surrounded by friends, her face full of youthful optimism. She remembered that day clearly. It was right before graduation, when the future seemed so bright, so full of possibilities. Sophie had big dreams back then, dreams of traveling the world, of starting her own design business, of living a life that was anything but ordinary. But looking at the photograph now, Sophie couldn't help but feel a sense of regret. What had happened to those dreams? How had she ended up here in this apartment sorting through memories of a life that felt so far away? She had let herself get caught up in the safety of routine, in the comfort of the familiar. She had taken the stable job, settled into a steady relationship, and allowed her dreams to fade into the background. It wasn't that she was unhappy, at least not until recently. But as she sifted through the contents of the box, Sophie realized just how much she had sacrificed for the sake of security. She pulled out another piece of paper, this one, a ticket from a trip she and Mark had planned but never taken. They had bought the tickets, made the reservations, but at the last minute, Mark had gotten too busy with work and they had postponed it. That was 5 years ago. They never rescheduled. Sophie traced the edges of the ticket with her finger, a deep sense of loss settling over her. It wasn't just the trip she mourned, but the person she had been back then, someone who still believed in the possibility of adventure, of stepping out of her comfort zone. There were letters too, from friends she had lost touch with, people who had once been so important to her. She read through them, laughing at the jokes, smiling at the shared memories, but also feeling a deep sense of melancholy. These were the people who had known her when she was full of ambition, when she still believed she could achieve anything. But as time passed, those friendships had drifted, just like her dreams. Sophie leaned back against the wall, holding a letter from an old friend. She had always thought there would be time to reconnect, to pick things up again. But now it felt too late. Too much time had passed. Too much had changed. Sophie wondered how different her life might have been if she had held on to those connections, if she had pursued those dreams instead of letting them slip away. She picked up the last item in the box, a small leather-bound journal. It was empty, except for a few entries from years ago. Sophie had always meant to keep a journal, to document her thoughts and experiences, but she had never found the time. Now, as she flipped through the blank pages, she felt a sadness overcome her. These empty pages were a metaphor for her life. So many missed opportunities, so many things left unsaid, undone. But as she sat there, surrounded by the fragments of her past, Sophie felt a shift in her thinking. Yes, she had regrets. Yes, she had missed opportunities. But she was still here, still alive, still capable of change. The past didn't have to define her. She could still write in that journal, still pursue those dreams, still get in touch with those friends. It wasn't too late. Sophie closed the box and stood up, holding the journal in her hands. She walked over to her desk and placed it there, a reminder that there was still time to fill those blank pages. The future wasn't set in stone. She could still shape it, still make the most of the time she had left. And with that thought, Sophie felt a spark of hope. She wasn't going to let her life be a series of what-ifs and missed opportunities. She was going to take action, to rebuild her life, and to live with purpose. It was time to stop looking back with regret and start looking forward with ambition.